Picture this. You're rushing through the busy streets of New York, lost in the demands of corporate life, when a fleeting glance stops you. A man sits on the sidewalk, his face marked by hardship and resilience. You offer him a pair of new shoes. Such a small gesture, but it hits you deep, like something just shifted inside. Why does this simple act feel so monumental? And why does it seem like, in that brief moment, your life took an unexpected turn? I rushed down the bustling streets of New York, my mind consumed by the endless tasks and demands of my corporate life. The hum of the city was a constant soundtrack, punctuated by honking taxis and the chatter of pedestrians. I glanced at my watch for what felt like the 100th time that morning, realizing I was running late for a crucial meeting. I adjusted my tie, trying to shake off the anxiety creeping in as I navigated through the crowd. Amidst the chaos, something caught my eye. A man sat on the sidewalk, his bare feet resting on the cold concrete. He was older, with a rugged face that spoke of hardship and resilience. His clothes were worn and tattered, and his gaze seemed to pierce through the layers of my carefully constructed life. I slowed my pace, feeling an unexpected pull to his presence. It was as if the world around us faded away, leaving only the two of us in that moment. I hesitated, my instincts clashing with my corporate mindset. "Keep walking," a voice in my head urged. But then I noticed the new shoes in a bag by his side. They looked pristine, a stark contrast to his state. I felt a strange impulse surge through me. What would it take to bridge the gap between us? I stepped closer, my heart racing. "Hey," I said, my voice uncertain. "I have these. Would you like them?" The man looked up at me, surprise flickering in his eyes. "Are you serious?" he asked, his voice tinged with disbelief. "Yeah," I replied, nodding slowly. "I mean it. I can't wear them. They're just sitting there." He reached for the bag, his hands trembling slightly as he pulled out the shoes. You don't know what this means to me," he said, tears welling up in his eyes. Thank you so much." I felt a lump in my throat as I watched him slip the shoes on, a smile breaking through his weathered face. It was a small gesture, but in that moment, it felt monumental. "What's your name?" I asked, trying to keep the conversation going, caught off guard by the connection we were forming. "Sam," he said, his voice steadier now. "Sam Foster. I used to be an artist, you know? Before, everything changed." The weight of his words hung in the air, and I found myself drawn in. "An artist?" I echoed, intrigued. "What kind of art?" "Painting. I had a studio once," Sam replied, his gaze drifting into the distance as if he were recalling a different life. "But an accident. It took everything from me. I lost my way." I felt a pang of sympathy, a flicker of something I couldn't quite name stirring within me. "I'm sorry to hear that," I said, my voice softer now. "What kind of things did you paint?" "Everything," he replied, a hint of passion igniting in his voice. "Landscapes, people, emotions. I loved capturing the essence of life. But now, I just survive." A silence enveloped us, charged with the weight of his story. "I can't imagine what that must feel like," I admitted, feeling my own problems shrink in comparison. "I'm just chasing success in my own way, I guess." Sam turned his gaze back to me, his expression shifting. "Success? What does that even mean? If you're not doing what you love, are you really living?" His words struck a chord deep within me, reverberating through my thoughts. I had always measured my worth by my career achievements, yet here was this man, stripped of everything, still asking the questions that haunted me. The tension in my chest began to loosen slightly, replaced by a burgeoning sense of empathy. I don't know," I confessed, feeling vulnerable. "I've never thought about it that way." He nodded, as if he understood. "Maybe it's time you did," he said gently. "We all have our battles, but it's what we do with them that defines us." I stood there, struck by the simplicity and depth of his insight. In that brief encounter, I felt something shift within me, a tiny crack in the armor I had built around my ambitions. I found myself in a small, bustling cafe not far from the office, a place I typically frequented for my morning coffee and quick bites between meetings. It was a rainy Tuesday, and the scent of freshly brewed coffee mingled with the sweet aroma of pastries. I was lost in thought, contemplating the demands of my job and the weight of expectations that had become all too familiar. But then I saw Sam again, sitting at a corner table, a canvas spread out before him, his fingers smudged with paint. I approached him, a mix of curiosity and trepidation bubbling within me. "Hey, Sam. Mind if I join you?" He looked up, a faint smile breaking through his weathered features. "Of course, Jake. I could use the company." As I sat down, the atmosphere shifted. The cafe's chatter faded into the background as I focused on the vibrant colors on his canvas. "What are you working on?" I asked, genuinely intrigued. "It's a piece about hope," he replied, his eyes lighting up. "I want to capture the struggle and the beauty in it. You know, life isn't just about the highs. It's also about finding light in the darkness." I nodded, feeling a strange connection to his words. I never thought about art that way. I've always seen it as a luxury, something for the elite. "But you're saying it's more than that?" Sam leaned back, contemplating my question. "Art is a language, Jake. It speaks to the soul. It tells stories that often go unheard. I want to give a voice to those who feel invisible, like I once did." His passion was palpable, and I felt a stirring in my chest. "That's powerful, Sam. Have you ever thought about organizing an exhibition? It could really shine a light on these stories." He chuckled softly, but there was a hint of sadness in his laughter. "I used to dream about it when I was still in the art scene, before everything went downhill. But who would listen to a homeless man's vision? I'm just a ghost now." "No, you're not a ghost," I insisted, leaning forward. "You're here, and what you have to say matters. I want to help you. Let's make this happen." Sam's eyes widened in surprise, and for a moment he didn't say anything. Finally, he muttered, "You really mean that?" "Absolutely. I can use my connections. We could find a space, get some sponsors." My voice trailed off as I realized I was stepping into territory I wasn't used to. The thought of diverting my time and energy from my corporate life to help someone like Sam felt daunting. Seeing my hesitation, Sam gently pressed, "Jake, you don't have to do this. I don't want to put you in a position where you feel you have to choose between your job and helping me." I took a deep breath, my mind racing. "I know, but I feel like this is important. It's more than just art. It's about giving people a platform, a chance to be seen." "Then let's do it," he said, his voice steady and filled with determination. "But it's not just about me. It's about all the artists out there who need a chance." His words ignited something within me, a flame I hadn't realized had dimmed. I found myself nodding, excitement bubbling to the surface. "Let's brainstorm some ideas. We can make this a community project, not just an exhibition." Over the next few weeks, our meetings became a regular part of my life. We met in various cafes, often joined by Mia, a young artist whom I'd met at one of the local art fairs. She was shy at first, her insecurities evident as she shared her work. But as she and Sam connected over their shared experiences, I watched her blossom. One afternoon, as we sat in a sunlit corner of the cafe, Sam turned to Mia and asked, "What inspires you to create?" Mia hesitated before answering, her voice barely above a whisper. I guess I want to express what I can't say with words, but sometimes I feel like my art isn't good enough." Sam leaned in, his expression earnest. "Your art is valid, Mia. It comes from your heart. That's what matters. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise." Her eyes sparkled with a mix of gratitude and newfound confidence. "Thank you, Sam. That means a lot coming from you." As I sat there witnessing their bond grow, I felt a shift within myself. This journey, this newfound friendship, was changing me in ways I hadn't anticipated. I realized that it wasn't just about helping Sam. It was about rediscovering my own purpose. The corporate rat race felt increasingly hollow, and I craved something more meaningful. In the weeks that followed, we began to outline plans for the exhibition. I utilized my corporate skills to reach out to potential sponsors, diving headfirst into a world that felt both foreign and exhilarating. Each small victory fueled my determination. As we brainstormed ideas, our conversations grew deeper, filled with laughter and shared dreams. It was exhilarating to be part of something larger than myself, something that spoke to the hearts of others. The office buzzed with energy as I walked in, but all I could feel was the weight of my own thoughts pressing down on me. I had been riding a wave of inspiration since my last meeting with Sam, but now the reality of my corporate life threatened to drown me. My mind was a battleground between the excitement of the upcoming art exhibition and the cold, hard numbers that my bosses demanded. "Jake, you got a minute?" My colleague Mark called out as I passed his desk. "Yeah, sure. I replied, forcing a smile. He leaned back in his chair, fingers steepled. I heard about that art project you're working on with the homeless guy. You really think it's a good idea? I felt a twinge of annoyance. It's not just a project, Mark. It's an exhibition that gives voice to artists who've been marginalized. It matters. Right, but you're a VP here. Shouldn't you be focusing on the next big campaign instead of playing gallery curator? He smirked, and I could see that flicker of condescension in his eyes. I swallowed hard, trying to keep my composure. This isn't just playtime for me. It's important work. Important, come on, it's just a distraction, he scoffed, waving his hand dismissively. As I returned to my desk, their words echoed in my mind, amplifying the tension I had been feeling. My heart raced, torn between two worlds, one where numbers and profit margins dictated my worth, and another where passion and creativity reigned. I stared at my computer screen, but all I could think about was Sam's face when I offered him those shoes, the joy and surprise that lit up his eyes. It was a moment that had changed me, but here it felt like I was suffocating. Later that day, I met Sam at our usual spot near the cafe. He was sitting on the steps, sketching in his worn notebook, the sun casting a warm glow around him. My heart lifted a little at the sight, but as I approached, I could sense the unease still lingering within me. "Hey, Jake?" Sam looked up with a grin, the kind that made all my doubts fade away for a moment. "Hey, Sam, how's the sketching going?" I asked, trying to shake off the weight of the office. "Better than ever. I'm working on something that might be perfect for the exhibition. You'll see." His eyes sparkled with enthusiasm, and I couldn't help but feel a surge of hope. "Can I see it?" I leaned closer, genuinely curious. "Sure, but it's still a work in progress." He flipped the notebook around to show me a rough outline of a figure with a vibrant backdrop. "It's about resilience, you know, how we rise from our struggles." I nodded, captivated. "It's beautiful, Sam. You capture feelings like no one else." "Thanks, man. But I've got to ask, how's the office reacting to all this?" "You've been missing a lot of deadlines," he said, concern creeping into his voice. I sighed, running my fingers through my hair. "Not great. They think I'm wasting my time. I'm torn between my job and this purpose I've found." "Do you really want to keep living like this, just chasing numbers?" he asked, his gaze piercing through my defenses. "I don't know," I admitted, my voice barely above a whisper. "But what if I leave and fail? What if I can't support myself?" Sam leaned back, a thoughtful expression on his face. "Jake, you're not just chasing numbers anymore. You're chasing something real. You're helping people, giving them hope." "Yeah, but what if I lose everything?" I exclaimed, frustration boiling over. "I've worked so hard for this position, I can't just throw it away." "Sometimes what we think is security is nothing but a cage," he replied softly, his tone steady but firm. "You have a choice, my friend. You can either stay safe and unhappy, or take a leap and find out what you're truly capable of." His words struck a chord deep within me. I felt the walls I had built around my ambitions begin to tremble. "It's just so hard to see the path ahead," I confessed, my voice shaking. "Maybe it's not about seeing the whole path," Sam mused. "Maybe it's about taking one step at a time, even when you're scared." I took a deep breath, the air feeling heavier than before. "You're right. I need to figure out what I really want." "Just remember, you're not alone in this," Sam said, placing a reassuring hand on my shoulder. "We're in this together." In that moment, I felt a sense of clarity beginning to emerge through the fog of doubt. Maybe it was time to confront my fears and take that first step towards something meaningful. As the date of the exhibition approached, the weight of our ambitious plans loomed over us like a storm cloud. I could feel the pressure mounting, the challenges multiplying with every passing day. We gathered in a small, dimly lit bar that had become our makeshift headquarters, its walls plastered with remnants of local art. The air was thick with anticipation and a hint of desperation. "Jake, we need to come up with a plan," Sam said, his voice steady, but his eyes betraying the urgency of the situation. He leaned forward, the flickering candlelight casting shadows on his weathered face. "We're running low on time and resources." I nodded, feeling a knot tighten in my stomach. I've reached out to a few local businesses for sponsorships, but most of them turned me down. They just don't see the value in supporting art like this. I ran my fingers through my hair in frustration. Mia, who had been quietly sipping her drink, chimed in. What if we organize a fundraiser? We could invite the community, showcase some of Sam's work, and create a buzz around the exhibition. People love to support a good cause. Sam's eyes lit up at the suggestion. That's a brilliant idea. We can use the bar space for free, and I can paint live during the event. It'll be a great way to draw people in and show them the power of art. A wave of excitement washed over me as I considered the possibilities. We could make it a night to remember. Live music, art displays, maybe even an open mic for other artists, I added, my mind racing with ideas. Exactly, Mia exclaimed, her enthusiasm infectious. Let's put together a schedule and start spreading the word. We need everyone we can get. Friends, family, anyone who believes in what we're trying to do. As we brainstormed, the atmosphere shifted from one of tension to hope. We began to outline the details, each of us contributing our strengths to create an event that could truly make a difference. Jake, can you handle the social media promotion? Mia asked. You're good with that stuff. Absolutely, I replied, energized by the challenge. I'll create an event page and start reaching out to local influencers. If we can get the right people talking about it, we might just pull this off. The next few days flew by in a blur of frantic planning. I barely slept, fueled by caffeine and adrenaline. As the night of the fundraiser approached, I could feel the weight of our efforts pressing down on me. Would it be enough? When the evening finally arrived, the bar was buzzing with energy. I stood by the entrance, greeting familiar faces as they trickled in. Sam had already set up a corner with his easels, and the sight of him painting felt like a promise of the magic we were trying to create. Hey, you're here! I called out to Mia as she arrived, her arms loaded with snacks and drinks. Of course, I brought some supplies for the open mic. We'll need to keep the energy up, she replied, grinning. How's it looking? Pretty good, I said, trying to mask my nerves. We've got a decent crowd, and I think people are starting to see what we're building here. As the night unfolded, I took the stage to address the crowd. My heart raced as I gripped the microphone, the warm lights shining down on me. Thank you all for coming tonight. We're here to support Sam and the vision of creating a community space for artists who need a platform to share their stories. Art has the power to change lives, and tonight, you're all a part of that change. The audience erupted in applause, and I felt a surge of energy wash over me. Sam, painting with fervor, glanced up and smiled, his brush dancing across the canvas. The connection between us was palpable, a shared understanding that we were in this together. As the night progressed, I watched as Sam's artwork came to life. Each stroke seemed to resonate with the crowd, drawing them closer. Mia took the stage next, her voice shaky but determined as she shared her own experiences with art and vulnerability. The audience listened intently, and I felt a sense of camaraderie blossoming among us. When it was Sam's turn to speak, he paused, taking a deep breath. Art saved my life, he began, his voice steady and powerful. It allowed me to express my pain and my hopes. Each piece I create is a part of my journey, and I want to share that journey with all of you. Tears glistened in some eyes, and I realized we were all transformed by the moment. The fundraiser exceeded our expectations, raising more than enough funds to support the exhibition. As we celebrated our success, I felt a shift within myself. This wasn't just about art, it was about community, connection, and the shared human experience that binds us all. In that dimly lit bar, surrounded by laughter and hope, I knew we were on the brink of something extraordinary. The weight of uncertainty settled heavily on my shoulders as I sat in my office, staring blankly at the spreadsheet sprawled across my desk. My boss's voice echoed in my mind. Jake, we need results. Focus on what matters. But what mattered to me now? My gaze drifted to the framed photo on my desk, a reminder of my past successes, yet it felt increasingly hollow. The thrill of the corporate rat race that once fueled me was now overshadowed by a gnawing emptiness. I had just come from a meeting with my team. They were puzzled by my shift in priorities, my newfound passion for the art exhibition we were organizing. Jake, are you really going to throw away your career for some art project? One of my colleagues had asked, skepticism dripping from his words. I had brushed it off with a forced smile, but deep down, I felt the weight of their judgment. Maybe this is just a phase. I had tried to convince myself, but as I walked through the office, it felt like I was wearing a sign that screamed, "I'm different now." My thoughts drifted to Sam and Mia, their hopes intertwined with mine. I could hear Sam's voice in my head, sharing his thoughts on purpose and passion. "It's about finding what makes you feel alive, Jake," he had said during our last conversation. But what if I didn't know what that was anymore? Later that evening, I found myself at a small cafe, nursing a coffee as I texted Mia. I needed someone to talk to help me sort through the chaos in my mind. "Mind if I join you?" She texted back, and moments later she slipped into the seat across from me. I could see the concern etched on her face. "Jake, you've been distant. What's going on?" she asked, her voice gentle yet probing. I don't know if I can keep balancing everything," I admitted, running a hand through my hair. "The exhibition is important to me, but my job is everything I've worked for. What if I fail?" Mia leaned in closer, her eyes bright with understanding. "But what if you succeed? You're not just doing this for yourself, you're helping others find their voices. That's worth fighting for." Her words resonated deep within me, igniting a flicker of courage. Still, the conflict remained. "I'm scared, Mia. What if I lose everything? I've built my life on this job." "Or maybe you're building a new life," she countered, her tone unwavering. "Sometimes, you have to let go of what you thought you wanted to find what you truly need." I sat back, considering her perspective. "You make it sound so easy." "It's not easy, Jake. But think about Sam. He's faced worse. He's pushing forward, despite everything." Her mention of Sam brought a wave of clarity. I thought of our late-night talks under the stars, his unwavering belief in the power of art to transform lives. I could almost hear him now, his voice a soft yet firm reminder. The choices we make define us, not the circumstances we find ourselves in. That night, I returned home feeling both terrified and energized. I needed to talk to Sam, to share my fears and uncertainties. As I dialed his number, I felt a mixture of anxiety and anticipation. "Jake?" His voice was warm and inviting over the phone. "Hey Sam, can we talk?" "Of course. What's on your mind?" I took a deep breath, gathering my thoughts. "I'm struggling, man. My job is demanding more from me, and I feel like I'm losing sight of what matters. I want to commit to this exhibition, but I'm scared of what I might lose." There was a pause on the other end, and I could almost picture Sam leaning back thoughtfully. "You know, Jake, sometimes we have to choose between what's easy and what's right. It's scary to step away from the familiar, but true freedom lies in authenticity. You're not just abandoning your career, you're seeking something deeper." "I just don't want to fail," I confessed, my voice shaking slightly. "Failure is part of the journey, Jake. It's how we learn. What truly matters is whether you're following your heart." His words struck a chord deep within me. "You're right. I need to find my own path, even if it's uncertain. Thank you, Sam." As I hung up, I felt lighter, as if a weight had been lifted. The road ahead was still unclear, but for the first time in a long while, I felt a sense of possibility. This journey was mine to navigate, and if I could embrace my vulnerability, perhaps I could also embrace the freedom that came with it. The day of the exhibition had arrived, and I could feel the electric buzz of anticipation pulsing through the air. As I stood in front of the venue, my heart raced with a mix of excitement and nervousness. The walls, adorned with vibrant pieces of art, seemed to whisper stories of resilience and hope, each brushstroke echoing the struggles and triumphs of the artists behind them. "Jake, are you ready?" Sam's voice broke through my reverie, grounding me in the moment. He stood beside me, his eyes sparkling with a mix of pride and anxiety. "This is it, our moment." I turned to him, unable to suppress a smile. "Yeah, I think so, just a little nervous." "Nervous is good. It means we care," he replied, his calm demeanor a stark contrast to my racing thoughts. "Remember why we're here. It's not just about the art, it's about the stories we're sharing." As we stepped inside, the atmosphere enveloped us like a warm embrace. The gallery was alive with chatter and laughter, a tapestry of diverse voices mingling together. People from all walks of life had come to witness this moment. Art enthusiasts, community members, and curious souls drawn in by the buzz of something extraordinary. "Look at all these people," I said, my voice tinged with awe. "I didn't expect such a turnout." Sam chuckled softly. "You and me both. But it's a testament to the power of stories. They resonate with people, Jake. They connect us. I nodded, my heart swelling with pride as I glanced at the artworks lining the walls. Each piece was a reflection of struggle and resilience, a direct line to the hearts of those who created them. I spotted Mia across the gallery, her nervousness evident as she adjusted the placement of her work. I waved and she beamed back, the warmth of her smile infectious. "Ready for your speech?" Sam asked, his tone light but serious. I swallowed hard. "I guess so. Just what if I mess it up?" "Just speak from the heart," he encouraged. "That's all anyone wants to hear. They're here for the stories, just like you said." Taking a deep breath, I stepped onto the small stage set up at the front of the gallery. The crowd quieted, and all eyes turned to me. My palms were sweaty, but I felt Sam's presence beside me, a calming force. I cleared my throat and began. "Thank you all for being here tonight," I started, my voice steadying as I spoke. "This exhibition is more than just a showcase of art. It's a celebration of resilience, of voices often unheard. Each piece here tells a story of struggle, hope, and the transformative power of creativity." As I spoke, I caught Sam's gaze, and it fueled my confidence. I met Sam not long ago, and his journey as an artist has inspired me in ways I can't fully express. He taught me that art is not just about recognition or success, it's about healing, connection, and community. The audience listened intently, a palpable energy filling the room. I want to thank each of the artists here tonight for sharing their stories and for reminding us of the beauty that can emerge from hardship. Your courage to create, to express, and to connect is what makes this exhibition so special. The applause that followed was warm and encouraging, wrapping around me like a comforting blanket. I stepped down from the stage, my heart racing, and was immediately met by Sam's enthusiastic embrace. "You did it! That was amazing!" he exclaimed, his eyes shining with pride. "Thanks, Sam," I replied, still riding the high of the moment. "But it's really about all of us." As the night unfolded, I watched people interact with the art, their expressions ranging from contemplative to joyful. I overheard snippets of conversation, people sharing their own stories, finding connections in the experiences depicted on the walls. It was everything we had hoped for. In one corner, I noticed Sam standing by one of his pieces, a painting that depicted his journey from despair to hope. A group of attendees surrounded him, captivated by the story behind the artwork. I could see the spark in his eyes, the joy of being seen and heard again. "Your work is incredible, Sam," I said, joining him. "Look at how people are responding." "It's surreal," he said, a hint of disbelief in his voice. "I never thought I'd have this again, the sense of community, the connection. It's more than I ever dreamed." As the night wore on, we all felt a profound sense of accomplishment. The exhibition had become a tapestry of shared experiences, a space where stories were not just told, but celebrated. In that moment, standing alongside Sam and Mia, I realized that we had created something beautiful together, a space for healing, connection, and hope. And as the crowd continued to explore, laughter and conversations filling the air, I knew this was just the beginning of our journey. I walked into the office the next morning, the adrenaline still buzzing in my veins from the success of the exhibition. It felt surreal to see Sam's art come to life, to witness the joy and validation on his face as people admired his work. But as I settled into my chair, the weight of my corporate responsibilities began to press down on me again. I knew I had been neglecting my duties for something that felt more like a calling than a job. As I scrolled through my emails, my heart sank. The subject line of the message from my boss was blunt: "Urgent meeting required." I took a deep breath, knowing this was the moment I had been dreading. I gathered my notes about the exhibition, the sponsors, and the feedback we received. I wanted to prove that my time away from the office had been worth it. But deep down, I feared they wouldn't see it that way. In the conference room, my boss, Karen, sat across from me with her arms crossed, flanked by other executives. Their expressions ranged from skeptical to outright disapproving. "Jake," she began, her tone icy, "we need to talk about your priorities. You've been absent from key meetings and have missed deadlines. This is affecting your performance." "Karen, I started, but she cut me off. "Let me finish. We've received complaints about your lack of focus. You seem distracted, too distracted by your little art project. You need to decide what's more important. your career, or this hobby? I felt heat rising in my cheeks. It's not just a hobby, it's a chance to make a real difference in the community. The exhibition wasn't just about art, it was about giving a voice to people who are often overlooked. Maybe so, she replied dismissively. But this company doesn't pay you to chase dreams. We need you to deliver results. You have 1 month to refocus, or we'll have to consider other options. I sat in stunned silence, processing her ultimatum. My mind raced with thoughts of Sam, of the joy and fulfillment I felt helping him. But the fear of losing my job loomed large. As I left the meeting, I felt a mixture of anger and confusion. The corporate world I had once lived and breathed now felt suffocating. Later that evening, I met Sam at our usual spot in the park. As the sun dipped below the skyline, casting a warm glow over the city, I poured out my heart to him. I can't believe they're giving me an ultimatum, Sam. It feels like I'm being forced to choose between my job and something that truly matters to me. Sam listened intently, his expression one of understanding. Jake, I see the fire in your eyes when you talk about the exhibition. You've found something that resonates with your soul, something that goes beyond profit margins and quarterly reports. But what if I lose my job? It's the only thing I've worked for my entire life, I confessed, my voice trembling. What if I fail? Sometimes the fear of failing holds us back from discovering our true potential, Sam said gently. I've been there. I let fear dictate my life for too long. But when I chose to embrace my passion for art again, despite the risks, it became my salvation. I looked at him, struck by the wisdom in his words. But I have responsibilities, bills to pay. Exactly, he said, a slight smile breaking through. And that's why you need to consider what truly fulfills you. Life is too short to spend it chasing something that drains your spirit. You deserve to pursue your passion, to find what makes you feel alive. His words hung in the air, and for the first time, I felt a flicker of hope amidst the chaos. Maybe you're right, but I don't know if I can just walk away from everything I've built. Sometimes, Jake, you have to let go of what you think is security to find true freedom, he encouraged. Trust yourself. You've already begun this journey, and you're not alone. You have me and Mia. We're in this together. As the night deepened, I realized how far I had come since that first encounter on the street. Sam had become more than just a friend. He was a companion on this unexpected journey of self-discovery. I felt invigorated, ready to confront the challenges ahead, regardless of what the corporate world had to throw at me. The next day, as I sat at my desk, my heart raced with a newfound sense of purpose. I started drafting my resignation letter. Thoughts of the exhibition and the community we had built swirling in my mind. I could feel the weight of the corporate world lifting, and for the first time in a long time, I felt a sense of clarity. I was ready to embrace the unknown, to take the leap and follow my heart. As the sun dipped below the skyline of New York City, casting a golden hue over the streets, I found myself sitting across from Sam in our favorite little cafe. The air was filled with the scent of freshly brewed coffee, and the hum of conversation surrounded us like a comforting blanket. It was strange to think how just a few months ago our lives had been so different. Now, here we were, partners in something that felt bigger than both of us. Jake, Sam began, his voice steady yet filled with a tremor of excitement. I've been thinking about what we can do at the studio. We've already made such strides, but I believe we can expand our vision even further. His eyes sparkled with a passion that was infectious. What do you have in mind? I asked, leaning forward, intrigued. My heart raced at the thought of what we could accomplish together. What if we created a program specifically aimed at helping people experiencing homelessness? Sam proposed. We could use art as a means of healing and empowerment, giving them not just a voice, but a canvas to express their stories. I was silent for a moment, absorbing his words. The idea was powerful. You mean, like workshops where they can create art? Maybe even showcase it at the studio? I could already picture the vibrant colors and raw emotions that would fill the walls. Exactly, Sam exclaimed, a smile breaking across his face. We could partner with local organizations to reach those in need and help them find their artistic expression. Art has always been a way for me to process my experiences, and I know it can do the same for others. The vision began to take shape in my mind. and I felt a swell of excitement. We could host gallery nights featuring their work, bring in the community, and raise funds for those artists. It would create a ripple effect, wouldn't it? Absolutely, he replied, his enthusiasm palpable. We could turn the studio into a safe haven, an incubator for creativity where everyone feels valued and heard. As I looked at Sam, I couldn't help but admire the transformation he had undergone. The man sitting before me was no longer just a homeless artist. He was a beacon of hope for so many. You know, when we first met, I never imagined our friendship would lead to something like this. You've changed my life, Sam. He chuckled softly, shaking his head. You've changed mine too, Jake. It's incredible how one simple act of kindness can lead to such profound connections. Our conversation flowed effortlessly, filled with laughter and dreams. Yet, as we delved deeper into planning our program, I felt a tug at the back of my mind. I was still grappling with the remnants of my old life, the corporate world that had once defined me. Would I be able to balance this new venture with the remnants of my past? Sam, what if I can't make this work? I confessed, the weight of doubt creeping into my voice. I've spent so long in a world where success is measured by profits and promotions. What if I fail? He placed a reassuring hand on mine, his grip firm and comforting. Failure is a part of the journey, Jake. But remember, success isn't just about money, it's about impact. Look at what we've already accomplished together. You're not alone in this. I took a deep breath, feeling the tension in my chest begin to ease. You're right. We're in this together, and that makes all the difference. With renewed determination, we set to work, sketching out our ideas for the program. We brainstormed potential names, themes for workshops, and ways to connect with the community. Each suggestion brought a sense of excitement, and with every idea, I could feel my old fears beginning to dissolve. As the hours passed, I realized that this was what I had been searching for, a purpose that fueled my spirit and allowed me to contribute to something greater than myself. The studio was not just a space for art. It was a place of transformation, not only for those we aimed to help, but for us as well. Let's do it, Sam, I said, my voice filled with conviction. Let's make this a reality, together. His eyes gleamed with appreciation. I knew you'd come around. Together, we'll create something beautiful. In that moment, I felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude for the journey we had embarked upon. We were no longer just two individuals from vastly different worlds. We were collaborators, dreamers, and friends, ready to take on the challenges ahead. As night fell, the glow of the studio lights illuminated the faces of our community gathered for our first anniversary celebration. I felt the warmth of joy and accomplishment enveloping me, yet a knot of anxiety twisted in my stomach as my phone buzzed in my pocket. It was an unfamiliar number, but something compelled me to answer. Jake, it's Mark, the voice on the other end said, unmistakably businesslike. I hope I'm not interrupting your festivities. Not at all, Mark. What's up? I replied, forcing a cheerful tone despite the unease creeping in. I've been following your work with the studio. It's impressive what you and your team are doing. I want to invest in your venture. His words hung in the air, both exhilarating and terrifying. Invest? You mean, like with money? Yes, exactly. I believe in the mission you've set out to accomplish. I want to help it grow. I struggled to process the offer. That's incredible, Mark, but are you sure? This isn't like the corporate projects we used to handle. We're focused on community and art, not profits. I understand that, but think of the potential here. You could reach more artists, help more people. We can work out an agreement that keeps your vision intact. I glanced around the room, taking in the faces of Sam and Mia, who were laughing and chatting with some of the community members. Their smiles reminded me why I had chosen this path. I appreciate it, truly, but I need to think about it. I don't want to lose the essence of what we've built. Of course, Jake. Just remember, partnerships can amplify your impact. I'm here when you're ready to talk more. As I hung up, my heart raced. I felt elated, but fear gnawed at me. I had always been driven by success in the corporate world, but this was different. My values had shifted. The studio, the community, the art, it was all about authenticity, not just financial gain. Hey, everything okay? Mia asked, noticing my expression as I approached her and Sam. It's Mark. He wants to invest in the studio, I said. my voice barely above a whisper. Mia's eyes lit up. That's amazing. This could really expand our reach. But what if it changes everything? I countered, feeling the weight of uncertainty pressing down on me. What if we lose our mission in the process? Jake, Sam interjected, his calm demeanor grounding me. You've built something beautiful here. If you bring in resources, you can do even more good. But it's essential to set clear boundaries. I nodded slowly, absorbing their words. You're right, but how do I ensure that we don't compromise our values? Mia leaned closer, her enthusiasm evident. You can make it a condition of the investment, Jake. Lay out what matters most to us. Supporting artists, giving back to the community. Make it clear that our mission comes first. The idea resonated with me. You're right, Mia. It's about finding the balance. We can leverage the investment without losing our identity. Sam smiled knowingly. Remember, it's okay to accept help. It doesn't diminish what you've created. It enhances it. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight lift slightly. Okay, I'll reach out to Mark. I'll propose we accept the investment, but with strict conditions to protect our mission. Mia's eyes sparkled with excitement. That's the spirit. We can do this together. As the night continued, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. The anticipation of what lay ahead filled me with hope. The studio was more than just a place for art. It was a beacon of change, a sanctuary for those who needed it most. I stepped outside for a moment, the cool air refreshing against my skin. I looked up at the city skyline, a mosaic of lights and dreams. I was ready to embrace this next chapter, to merge the worlds of art and business in a way that honored our community. With Sam and Mia by my side, I felt invincible. I knew we would navigate whatever challenges lay ahead, united in our mission to uplift those around us. As I stood on the makeshift stage of our art studio, my heart raced with anticipation. It was a beautiful evening, the first anniversary of our little haven where creativity bloomed and relationships flourished. The room was filled to the brim. Artists, supporters, and even those from the very community we aimed to uplift. I glanced at Sam and Mia, standing just to the side, their faces lit by the soft glow of fairy lights strung above us. Their presence was a comforting reminder of how far we had come together. Taking a deep breath, I stepped up to the microphone. Thank you all for being here tonight, I began, my voice slightly trembling. 1 year ago, we took a leap of faith, and now, standing here, I can honestly say that this journey has changed my life in ways I never imagined. The crowd erupted in applause, their energy palpable. I paused, letting the moment sink in. I was trapped in a corporate world that valued profit over purpose, I continued, my gaze shifting to Sam, who nodded encouragingly. But then I met Sam, and he showed me that art has the power to heal, to inspire, and to unite us in our shared struggles. The audience responded with cheers, and I felt a wave of emotion wash over me. Looking out at the faces, I saw people who had been through their own battles, who had found solace in our space. This studio is not just about art, it's about community. It's about giving a voice to those who have been silenced. The clapping grew louder, and I felt a surge of gratitude. Just as I was about to expand on our future plans, my phone buzzed in my pocket. I glanced at the screen, and my heart dropped. It was a message from an unknown number. I hesitated for a moment, but curiosity got the better of me. I quickly read the text, and it felt like the ground shifted beneath my feet. Sam is a famous artist who disappeared after a personal tragedy. My mind raced as I tried to process this shocking revelation. I looked over at Sam, who was chatting with Mia, completely unaware of the turmoil churning inside me. I wanted to confront him, but the moment wasn't right. I had to finish my speech. We have so many exciting things ahead of us, I said, trying to keep my composure. With your support, we plan to expand our programs and bring art to even more people in need. The applause was thunderous, but my heart wasn't in it. I wrapped up my speech, and as I stepped down from the stage, I felt a whirlwind of emotions. I approached Sam and Mia, who were beaming with pride. What a night, huh? Mia said, her eyes sparkling, but all I could think about was the secret I now held. Sam, I said, my voice barely above a whisper, can we talk for a second? He looked at me, his expression shifting from joy to concern. Of course, Jake, is everything okay? Not really, I replied, leading him to a quieter corner of the room. I just received a message that it's about you. I hesitated, searching for the right words. It says you're a famous artist, someone who stepped back from the limelight after a tragedy. Sam's expression turned serious, and I could see the weight of the truth in his eyes. Jake, Before he could continue, I interrupted. Why didn't you tell me? Why hide who you are? I felt a mix of anger and confusion, but beneath it all, I was desperate to understand. Because I needed to find myself again, Sam said softly, his voice steady. When I was in the spotlight, I lost sight of what art meant to me. I wanted to create for the joy of it, not for the acclaim. His gaze pierced through me, and I could see the sincerity in his eyes. I chose anonymity to rediscover my passion without the pressures of my past. As he spoke, I felt the tension in my chest begin to ease. So you're not ashamed of who you were? I asked, searching for confirmation. Not at all, but I wanted to inspire others without the baggage that came with my name, he replied, a hint of a smile breaking through his seriousness. The journey is what matters, not the recognition. In that moment, I understood. The applause and accolades would never define success. I'm proud of you, Sam, I said, my voice thick with emotion. You've shown me what it means to live authentically. Just then, Mia joined us, her face lit with excitement. What's going on over here? She asked, sensing the gravity of the conversation. Just a revelation, I said, looking between them. Sam's journey is far more profound than any of us realized. Mia smiled, her eyes shimmering with understanding. Then let's celebrate that. We're all about authenticity here, right? As we embraced, I felt a sense of unity among us, a bond that transcended our pasts and futures. The studio around us buzzed with life, and I knew that together we could create something beautiful, not just in art, but in the very essence of what it meant to be alive and to connect. If you found this story intriguing, just wait until you hear about Julia's unexpected encounter with that mysterious note on her windshield. Who left it? What did it reveal? Each line brought up old loves and buried secrets. Want to know where this search for truth led her? Click on the video popping up on your screen right now and find out what happened.